I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street. From now until December 31st, 2018, the James Beard Foundation is accepting nominations for the 2019 James Beard Awards. And I invite all of you to join me in nominating Chef Stephen McHugh from Cured in San Antonio, Texas, for the 2019 James Beard Award for Best Chef Southwest. I've made it easy to do this, guys. If you go to FascinationStreetPod.com and look to the right of the page, there will be a photo of Chef Stephen McHugh. When you click on that photo, it will take you to the 2019 James Beard Award page. You will need to create an account, but that'll only take about 60 seconds and they don't ask for much. It's really just a name and password kind of a thing. Once you've created an account, it will take you to the nominations page. From there, you'll click on the 2019 Restaurant and Chef Awards, and then complete the submission form, making sure to select Best Chef Southwest as the category. It's that easy, guys. All it takes is 5 minutes of your time, and I would greatly appreciate it. So thank you in advance, and now let's get to this week's episode. Alright guys, welcome back. This episode is with actress and baker Ashley Arpel Greenwald. In this episode, we talk about why she got into acting. We talk about one of her first roles ever, which was in the Bruce Willis film directed by Kevin Smith, Cop Out. We talk about a young Ashley getting to work with the likes of Bruce Willis, Helen Mirin, and Russell Brand, even Nick Cage. Plus, we talk about her most recent works, including Destined To Ride, which is available on VOD everywhere. We talk about her getting to work with the legendary and iconic Joey Lawrence. We even get her to say his famous line. Of course, we talk about her new baking and catering company. And we find out what the cool kids are doing these days with OREOS. Enjoy, guys. This is actress, baker, and caterer Ashley Arpel Greenwald.
Yeah, talk to me, yeah.
Ashley Arpel Greenwald, welcome to Fascination Street. How are you doing today?
I am doing so well. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I am fantastic. Ask me why.
Why? Why are you fantastic?
Because I get to talk to you today.
Wow. Thank you so much for setting me up for that. That's pure flattery for the rest of the day.
So let's talk a little bit about you so that everybody can get to know you. Deal?
Deal.
Okay, so originally the daughter of a sharecropper in West Virginia. No, wait. So you were born...
I think you may have me confused with someone.
So you're born and raised in Long Island?
I am. Long Island and Manhattan. I went back and forth. My parents got divorced when I was very young.
Oh, which one lived where?
My dad was in Long Island, my mom in Manhattan. And now, fun enough, my mother is in Florida, and my dad is in Manhattan.
Hey, that's really funny.
I know, isn't it weird? But what are you going to do? It makes going back home a little nuts, but, you know, we manage.
Yeah, I bet it does. So are you in L.A.?
Yeah, I live in L.A. Actually, really randomly, I am actually going to the East Coast tomorrow. You're catching me on a really great day.
Sweet. Are you going for family or work or fun or what?
I'm going on vacation, just a little week/weekend trip in the Hamptons. Need to relax, you know.
La-di-da, the Hampty Hamps.
The Hampy Hamps. You know what? I'm going to start calling it the Hampy Hamps. No one has ever referred to it that way, and we need to coin that and start it.
Oh, you're so sweet. That means you're super duper young. I think it was the very first Beastie Boys album where they said, "I know you're sitting pretty in the Hampty Hamps."
Oh my God! You know what? That was a really, really good rendition.
Thanks. And
do you sing or rap on the side, and you're just not telling anyone?
I don't know about on the side. That's what I do mainly. That is my main profession.
Nice.
Just kidding. So let's talk about you. So when did you decide that you wanted to get into acting?
That's so great the way you worded it, because it was never a decision. It was always just, I loved it. You know, living in New York, I had the theater available to me. I always loved performing when I was a kid. I would put shows on, like, in my playroom. I'm sure my parents were very embarrassed. But it's sort of just, it was never sort of a decision to move to LA. I always just had it in my head. Growing up every day, people would ask me, what are you going to be when you grow up? And I said, I'm an actor. I'm moving to LA when I turn 18. And I did that.
Wow. So it, like you said, it wasn't a decision. It was just sort of a known, like it was in your blood. It just happened.
It was just sort of something I knew I needed to do. I needed to fulfill that dream. Yeah. So it was never a decision for me. It was always just there. It was always just in my mind. I am doing that.
So one might say you were destined to act, and we'll find out why that's funny later.
That is amazing. You are great with that. You are very good with those.
Thank you. So tell me about why Stella Adler.
Oh, well, really was no other conservatory, especially for teens. I went every weekend. It was either, you know, be a teenager and go to parties, I guess, or go to Stella Adler. And at that point, I was living full time in Long Island, and I would take the train every Saturday morning and go to their studio in Manhattan. It was just the best. It was a really great learning experience for me. I think I actually learned how to control, this is going to sound crazy, but how to control my breath via Stella Adler. And anybody that has studied, you know, at Stella Adler, any formal technique training will understand completely what I just said.
Well, I don't think that sounds crazy at all. I'm a huge fan of Frank Sinatra, and one of the most important lessons he ever learned growing up was how to control his breath. And he learned it from a trumpet player named Harry James.
I love this. I'm actually a huge fan of Frank Sinatra. I sing karaoke every Tuesday night, and Frank Sinatra, he makes his way in, as does Elvis, of course.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm a huge Frank Sinatra fan. I call myself a Francophile. I have about probably 80 or 85 of his vinyl records, which is not even like a third of what he put out.
Yeah, I actually still have, not still, it was my dad grabbed it and saved it. So now I in turn have it. The People magazine cover of Frank Sinatra, it was like his legacy. It was printed in the 90s, and we just kept it, and now we have this very, very old magazine of Frank Sinatra as an old man on the cover. We're big fans in the family.
What was he wearing? Do you remember?
Yes, he was wearing a red button-down, long sleeve.
Oh, interesting. I don't have that one.
Oh, well, I'll send you a photo of it.
Oh, that'd be cool. So then you decided to move to California when you turned 18? Well, again, you didn't really decide so much as it was preordained.
Yes, destined.
And tell me about the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. What the heck is that?
You don't know what that is? No, I'm kidding. It is actually the oldest acting school in the country. What happened was I auditioned for their studio in New York. I got in because that was the closest to me. So auditioning, I had to audition to the closest one. Then when you were able to, like, I guess, have a preference of where you wanted to be, it's either New York or Los Angeles, I firmly stated Los Angeles. And I said I would not accept going to the studio in New York. I got in, and they originally had me on my, like, I don't know, my file. It said New York City. Oh boy, did I email, did I call them? I annoyed them so much. They were like, fine, just leave us alone. Go to LA.
That is hilarious. But you got what you wanted, right?
I did. I'm very persistent. When I have an idea, I need to get it out. But I guess that's every performer, isn't it?
That's what makes you a performer and not, let's say, a window washer.
You know what? I guess that's true. That is the only thing that makes me a performer and not a window washer.
Yes, that is the only thing. Well, that and I don't think you might, but maybe you don't have a squeegee. So Those two things. Okay, there's
No,
two things then.
I don't. Yeah, two things. I don't have a squeegee. I love that word, a squeegee.
Now, what made you decide to enroll in UCB?
Oh, well, I wanted to make people laugh, but you have to be funny to do that, and I'm not. No. It's really, honestly, that was something that I discussed with my representation at the time, and we thought that was my next step forward and really trying to break into the sitcom arena. I've always wanted to be a sitcom actress. I mean, I don't know how the world survives without comedy. I love it. But funny enough, most of my roles have been dramatic. So I don't know really what that says about me. But UCB was a lot of fun. I had a really great time in there.
Cool.
And those people are wildly talented.
So you've done theater, television, and film. Which one is your preferred medium?
That is tough. There's nothing like being in a theater and really absorbing your audience. I know that sounds so awkward to say, but I gotta say, probably my favorite, you know what? I'm gonna say television because you get the swiftness that is theater with sort of the, I don't know, the vibe of film, if that makes sense. I mean, TV is sort of like, in my mind, the way I figure it, it's like a sitcom. It's sort of a mixture of both. You can be very loud as you are in theater, but then also you have to remember to be grounded, and you're still acting. You're not just like doing cartwheels.
So it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I like to think so. Let's bring Hannah Montana into this. Best of both worlds.
Was that a Hannah Montana thing?
It's not. I don't know why I said that. It was like years ago. I think she had that song. I don't know. Please don't use that.
I'm going to make that the theme song. Whatever that Hannah Montana song is going to be the theme song.
Yeah, do it.
It's just going to be playing for the entire episode on a loop.
I'm excited. Can't wait.
I might be wrong on this, but were you in a movie called Cop Out?
You are not wrong. That was my very first film role. It was the summer before I moved to Los Angeles. So I had graduated high school. My very first role, it was great. We filmed in the dead of summer and in Manhattan heat, and there's no wind in Manhattan. So it was great. It was a ton of fun, but we were sweating. But it's actually a hilarious movie. I saw it with all my friends when it came out. It was really cute.
I'm well aware, and so that leads me to this next question. How was it like to be directed by Bruce Willis?
Directed by Bruce Willis?
Yeah, because Kevin Smith tells stories about how Bruce Willis was a raging asshole and sort of just took over the whole set.
Oh, I thought it was a blast. I had the best time, one of the greatest experiences of my life. So it was just overall really, really great, and I'm very fortunate to have been a part of it and have that be my very first role.
That's what I was hoping you would say.
Good, I'm glad. Pass the test.
So then after that, you went on to do another huge movie, right? Arthur?
Yes, that one was epic. That one, again, filmed in the hot summer in Manhattan. But Russell Brand is he was so cool. He was so funny. I mean, just to put him next to anyone, but especially Helen Mirin. I mean, you don't think of them as a dynamic duo, but my God, they really were a dynamic duo.
Oh, I would imagine.
Oh, it was so fun. It was a lot of fun to be on that set. A ton of fun. I feel like it wasn't so, working because we were just laughing so much.
So those two giant films were right before you moved to LA, right?
Arthur was the summer after I moved to LA. I went back to New York, filmed that, then came back to LA.
Gotcha.
Cop Out was the summer before I moved to LA. But then after that, I only went back to New York for work and visiting. So really most of my roles some of my roles have filmed in New Orleans, but most are Los Angeles now.
What was in New Orleans?
The Runner. with Nicolas Cage, Wendell Pierce, Sarah Paulson. That was a ton of fun. I don't know if you've ever been to New Orleans, but when I wasn't on set, it was a hoot walking around there.
That is awesome. I'm not very far from New Orleans, like probably a 4.5 or 5 hour drive. So I've been a few times.
That's not very far. That's far.
Oh no, not in Texas.
I think that's far, but that's still cool. Have you ever gone?
Yeah, a few times. So the reason you think 5 hours is far is because you're from New York, and if you drive 5 hours from New York, you're in fucking Florida or something crazy. So, but I mean, if you know, like, you can drive for 10 hours and still be in Texas.
Oh my God.
You know, depending on where you start from. But yeah, I've been to New Orleans. I love that place.
Yeah, the beignets were probably the best thing I've ever had. And I bake. I'm also a pastry chef, and God, those were delicious.
Oh, we'll get to your other career. Do not fret. Because I
plug that in there.
I have a ton of questions about your other career, but we're not there yet. So, how did you get the runner?
How did I get the runner? This is a funny story. Well, I had met the director. His name is Austin Stark. He's wonderful, lovely. And pretty much I just emailed him nonstop to get an audition. He had sent me the script, so I knew the film backwards and forwards. I was like, please, you gotta let me audition, please. So after a week, turned into months, he put me in contact with the casting office. I sent them a tape, and from there, I got the runner.
So when you put your stuff on tape, how do you do it? Do you use your phone? Do you go to a studio? How do you do a taped audition?
It depends on the role. It depends on how casual the scene is. I mean, sometimes the casting note says, no need to go to a studio, use your phone, just don't film horizontally. So it really does depend on what you're auditioning for. And sometimes you have so many auditions which is very rare. I mean, usually they're, far between, but sometimes you have so many auditions in a row that you really you don't have time to get yourself to a studio and get in there and set up, film, and then upload it. I mean, sometimes you just have to go on your phone, have a friend film it, upload it, literally only using your phone. You don't have to have a computer. So really, from the way I'm wording it, you just don't have an excuse to not really put an audition on tape if you get one, unless it's something you're uncomfortable with.
Got you. I've heard people answer that differently. That's why I asked. There was one lady who even said that she used to work for a casting office, and so even if they say it's not necessary, do it anyway.
Oh, to be in a studio?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, for the runner, I filmed in the studio.
Sure.
But the last film that I sent a tape in for, I filmed it in my friend's apartment, and then they actually had callbacks in a casting office, so they were able to see me in person. And the thing is, you're going to get someone different usually every time, and it depends on their mood. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, no, this is unprofessional. I mean, it really depends, for me at least, on the role, what it's for.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Earlier, we talked about how you were destined to act. Let's talk about your new family feature, or your family adventure, Destined to Ride.
Yeah, let's.
Back, quarterback, and put him back.
Hey there. About the summer, turns out my work is going to keep me out of town a little more than I thought it was going to.
What are you trying to say, Dad? You want to get me a babysitter or something?
I actually already did.
Aunt Glow?
Are you kidding me?
Lily! Honey, I know you didn't think you were going to be spending your summer here, but I promise we'll make it fun, okay?
What are you up to?
Oh, just hanging out by the pool.
Let's see.
Ooh, girl.
Heard that I'm gonna get an assistant this summer. Lily, right? Well, pick your pick.
What about him?
Pistachio? No, you don't want pistachio.
Pistachio. I choose pistachio.
You ride, cheerleader?
Whoa, whoa.
Gather your aim!
I'm okay.
Don't let today deter you from coming back. We like you.
Michael, who is that?
Oh, just my lovely neighbor, Chuck Frommer. He thinks he controls the easement along the road.
It's real simple, Gloria.
I told you, I'm not budging. That easement isn't yours, and you know it.
We are just offering a neighborly proposition for you.
Your 2 grandsons against Eva and I in a race. And if we win, the easement is hers. I really want to win this.
Any chance to beat those Farmer boys? I'm down.
Come on, buddy, let's go. Yeehaw!
Working hard, feel the heat, hearts beating. Blood and tears, all you need, dedication.
Riders, at your mark. I'm so proud of you. You reminded me so much of your mother.
Won't stop till the battle's won. You got the
Get set.
champion.
Ride him like you stole him.
Go!
You're my best friend, you know that?
The premiere was last night, actually.
Oh, sweet. Where was it? And did you go?
I did go, and it was at ArcLight in Hollywood.
Oh, cool.
So, it was great. It was really cool to see the cast again. You know, some of us have kept in touch, but it's so funny. I mean, we filmed that movie a year ago. Like, this time last year, we were on set. So, it was really great to see everyone.
So, besides Ashley Arpel Greenwald, that movie stars Denise Richard, Madeline, Carroll, and Joey Lawrence, right?
Yeah, yes, it does.
Now,
Couple of lookers.
Joey Lawrence, okay, so we already established, since you've never heard of the Beastie Boys, that you're really, really young. Now.
But I know who Joey Lawrence is, and I know what his signature phrase is.
You won't do it.
I'll do it. Oh, twist my arm. I'll do it.
I'm twisting.
You want me to do it? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoa.
Okay.
I've been practicing.
I bet you have. So that's from a TV show called Blossom. Now, word on the street is Blossom is going to come back, but I don't care about that because that's not what we're here to talk about. Joey Lawrence, Blossom wasn't even like his 5th or 6th TV show. When he was like 6, he was a TV star. He's been a TV star.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he's been a TV star for over 30 years.
Wait, I had no idea that. I knew after that he had the Brotherly Love show with his 2 other brothers, who shall remain nameless because I forgot their names. But I knew he had that show, and then, of course, Melissa and Joey, but I had no idea that he had shows before Blossom.
Oh, yes. There was a show called, I think it was called Give Me a Break with Nell Carter, and it was about a family who, I guess...
About Kit Kat.
Huh?
It was about the Kit Kat bar. Give me a break. Give me a break.
Oh.
You know, come on, don't make me sing it.
Oh, my God.
Come on, man.
Will you sing it again for me, please?
I will not. I will not. You got it. You got it.
Damn it. Okay. So it was a show about like a sort of a show about a family, like a white family, I guess, who lost the mother, and so this black lady came in to take care of him, to help the dad take care of him, and her name was Nell Carter in real life, and she was famous too. And so he was the little boy on that show. So he was like, literally, he was like 6 or 7 years old, and he stole the show. Like, I mean, you met him. Everything he does, he steals the show. So, yeah, he's been famous.
He really does.
He's been acting since before you were born.
Wow. That is kind of crazy.
I only remember...
Good for him. I mean, to have that kind of longevity in your acting career is great. I mean, it's kind of unheard of these days.
Yeah, it really is. And that was a primetime show back when there was only like 4 channels. So, I mean, he was killing it at an early age. And I only remember all that because that was my favorite show.
Oh, my God. That's awesome. I want to see it now. I'm going to go home and try and get it.
Oh, you really should. It's really cool. And then, you know, he did some other things. I think he was on this short-lived sitcom where it was an orphanage run by a sister, like a nun or something, and he was one of those kids, and he got into hijinks and whatever. So tell me about this movie.
That's a cool one.
What is Destined to Ride about?
Destined to Ride, well, for one thing, it's fantastic. It is adorable. Anna Elizabeth James is the writer and director. She's so lovely. She wrote this wonderful film. It really is about a young teenager, a young woman, if you will. She's 17, going on 18. She has one more year of high school left, and her dad, Joey Lawrence, sends her for the summer to live with her Aunt Flo, who is played by Denise Richards. So you would think that she'd be all excited, but in the film, Denise plays sort of like a hippy-dippy aunt, and she's awesome, and she's so fun, but she lives, miles and miles away from town, and there's no cell service. A funny line in the film, and I won't ruin it for anybody, but a funny line is that, yesterday we ran out of water, and we had to send Uber back and forth to get it. But it's really about just a young girl bonding with her horse, whose mom was her. This is hard to word. The horse's mom belonged to the young girl's mom, both of which at the beginning of the film passed away. So again, I'm not giving anything away. I'm just sort of setting up the story of how emotional it is. And it's a wonderful, wonderful film. It's something I'm very proud to be part of.
Where is this film going to be available?
Oh, you can get it right now. It came out yesterday, the same night as the premiere. You can get it on Amazon, iTunes, anywhere. I mean, it's really virtually available on every single home movie.
Oh, cool. So it's on VOD everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Sony knows what they're doing.
Fantastic. And what was your role?
I play Tammy Kilson. I am a young cheerleader. I mean, from there, I don't want to give too much away, but I am a little ditzy. I don't know the cheer fully, you could say.
Nice. All right. Well.
Hey, streetwalkers. Well, you're not literally streetwalkers, but now that I've got your attention, I am Stephen O'Reilly, and I have a podcast called The Bar Star Podcast. And since you're listening to the Fascination Street podcast, I think you should check out my show. It's just as interesting without all the famous people, because Steve has connections that I just do not have. But if you dig podcasts about music, working musicians, and other random shit that I decided to talk about, based around music, of course, because that's what I do. I'm a working musician for the past 30 years, and you need to check out the Bar Star Podcast. You can get it wherever you get your podcast, on any platform, and make sure you check out barstarpodcast.com. Now back to the one and only Steve Owens and whatever the hell he was talking about.
Moving on. What is Adolescence?
Oh, great film. Funny enough, that was actually filmed 2 years ago, maybe more, actually. Ashley Arpel is the director. She's wonderful. And that is not a family film. Still a great film, but not meant to be watched with young children. It's about the teenage heroin scene in Los Angeles. So if you didn't know, as I did not before this film, that is something that is spreading here in California. And that is the basis of this film. And actually, one of the stars, Mickey River, who wrote it, it's about his life.
It's about his life?
Yeah. So we took certain, scenarios and whatnot about his childhood growing up and brought them into the film. So it's really great. I think that was actually just thought. It's funny how you can film things and then move on from it, not really knowing where it's going to end up and hoping for the best. And then all of a sudden now that I have 2 movies coming out this summer, one was filmed 2 years ago and one a year ago. I mean, it just goes to show, you want to hold your breath, keep holding. Just hopefully something will happen.
So that is forthcoming, right? Yet to be released?
Not yet. I think it was just thought, but it has not been released yet to the theaters.
Got you. And finally, let's talk about Lifetime.
Let's talk about Lifetime.
So,
I love Lifetime.
A few years ago, I was just sitting there watching I don't even remember what movie it was, but my wife walked through the living room and she looked at the TV and she looked at me and she looked at the TV and she goes, "Are you watching Lifetime Channel again?" And so I guess I wasn't aware that I get maybe it's not so much anymore, but at least a few years ago, it was sort of geared toward the female demographic.
I think it is because, I mean, I don't think so. It's hard to say. I mean, I know some of those films are very, like, sappy, but I personally love that. And I think I can also say, without embarrassing him, that, like, my boyfriend kind of likes those too, So I don't think they're sort of geared towards women. I just think they're more emotional and, like, tolling films.
Yeah, I should have had you there when I was fighting for my life against my wife on that.
Right, and, like, the names are probably what gets me the most. It's like, the names are so to the point. Like prostitution at 17, and then it goes cocaine addict at 17. It's like literally on Lifetime, everything happens to you when you're 17. You turn 18, and no, you're good to go. Go out into the world. But at 17, that is a rough year.
Yeah, don't take my daughter at 17.
Right? Yeah, that's it.
So tell me about my crazy ex, or your crazy ex. Tell me about anybody's crazy ex.
Okay. How do you know him? No. That was a lot of fun. That was a TV show that I filmed a while back, and I did an episode, and it was great. I mean, Lifetime is really that was Lifetime Movie Network, and they're really great. They treat you very well, very professional. I only have nice things to say about that experience.
Oh, good. So, besides having these two movies that are one's out and one's about to come out and going on vacation, what's on the horizon for a young Ashley Arpel Greenwald?
Well, thank you for asking. Well, we sort of touched on it a bit ago. I also own a bakery.
No, stop.
Now it's stop.
I meant with regard to acting, and don't say your other show. Don't do that yet.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Well, one goes with the other. I'm working on a cooking show, but
oh yeah, what's it called?
Go back to that. Well, we're still in the title process, so
no,
right
stop.
now I'm only allowed to say. Oh,
I'm
stop.
just.
Are you telling me to stop?
I'm just kidding. Let's just. I want to talk about your cooking. Why baking? Why did you get into baking?
Well, that's actually a very funny story. So a few years ago, I've always loved cooking. I've always loved baking, and I've always loved eating. I love food. I'm a big foodie. I grew up in New York, so Italian food, chicken parm has always been a go-to for me. Baking sort of just happened when a few years ago I was just baking excessively for some reason. It was really it was after The Runner, and I'm sure you've heard it before, but sometimes as actors, we book one thing and it's huge and it's great, and then we don't book something for a few months and we're terrified and we think the worst. So baking was really sort of this outlet for me. But one morning I woke up with just a plethora of baked goods in my apartment. So I invited all of my girlfriends over and we devoured everything. They were like, "Oh, you should really try selling this." And I'm telling you, when I say we devoured everything, there were like 24 muffins in the corner, 3 cakes, a pie. Like, it was ridiculous. So a few weeks later, I overheard my neighbor talking about a party that she was going to have. I asked her if she had a caterer. She said no. And I said that I owned a bakery, and that was the beginning of my kitchen. That's Ashley's Kitchen, which is the name of my online bakery. And it's been 3 years now.
So you said, "Do you have a caterer?" And she said no, and then you lied and said you had a bakery?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess I did, but fake it till you make it. And then I showed up at the party. I was good to go. I find that every time I do one of these events, I learn something different. Especially, now that I'm promoting Destined To Ride, I'm going to a lot of these events. Like, a lot of premieres and a lot of just things where, interviews. And I am also learning that way, seeing what is provided for me so that then I can go back to my business and internalize it and take that in.
Very cool. What is Oreo cornbread?
Oh my God, are you on my website?
Not currently.
Oreo cornbread is a revelation. No, I'm kidding. But it is delicious. I just wanted to do something a little different. Cornbread is delicious on its own, but I used to dip my cornbread in hot chocolate as a kid. So I thought, why not just mix the two and have the best of both worlds? And Oreos are, come on, I mean, you seriously cannot go wrong with Oreos. I usually dip them in peanut butter, but putting them in my cornbread, it's a lot cooler. All the cool kids are doing it.
Oh, is that what the cool kids are doing?
I have no idea what the cool kids are doing.
And also, Oreos are vegan, right?
We offer vegan.
No, Oreos.
Desserts. I am not.
No, Oreos.
Pardon?
Aren't Oreos vegan?
No.
Are you sure about that?
I think the cream in the middle is, it has some form of cream in it. I don't think that, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't offer it to my vegan clients. I mean, now if you're saying that it's vegan, I'm going to look that up, and if it is, there you go. I have something new to offer them. Well,
all of the clientele at That's Ashley's Kitchen, you're welcome.
They're all saying thank you.
So
I don't see them in front of me, but they will be.
Now, I'm also very curious about what in the heck is a Smoreo pumpkin pop?
So, yeah, I really like Oreos, obviously. That was created for Halloween, so it's pretty much a mix of a Pop-Tart and a lollipop, and it's sort of geared towards adults because there are a lot of very strong tastes involved. There's pumpkin, there's cinnamon, there is Oreo, which means there's a chocolate vanilla aspect in there. Sometimes I add raspberry just for kicks. It depends. And then there's a sweet sugar glaze on top. So in a nutshell, it's a mix between a Pop-Tart and a lollipop. And probably the greatest thing you'll ever eat.
What kind of nut?
No nut.
Well, you said in a nutshell, so I'm assuming that, sorry.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh, my God, I cannot believe you said
that. Like, give me a break. Give me a break.
Yep, yeah. Just bring it back to that. Okay.
So, word on the street is that you are developing a TV show centered around That's Ashley's Kitchen catering company. Is that the correctness?
Word on the street. Yes, that is correct. I am working on I'm trying to word it in a way that I'm allowed to, because right now I'm not really allowed to give much away about it. But,
all right. You can stop there then. I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Well, no, it's gonna be a very cute but still very educational cooking show. But it's very exciting.
Sweet. And will this be on a regular network or one of the food-based television shows? In your ideal world.
We actually don't know yet. We're not really sure what our portal will be. That's why I'm not fully allowed to discuss, I guess.
Well, I would like to give you kudos for proper use of the word portal.
Thank you very much.
You are most welcome.
I like vocabulary.
So, I flipped on the news today, and I saw that there was a serial killer loose in Los Angeles right now. And I was wondering if you might be in the fortunate position to bake a cake for this serial killer. What might that look like?
You terrified me for a second. So now I think you're on my Instagram. My serial killer cake is probably, I mean, it hits every taste bud. And commits murder, but that's neither here nor there. It has 5 different cereals, and it's colorful as anything, as you can see from the photo. And it's just 3 layers of scrumptious frosted flake cake.
What kind of cake is it?
So I soak Frosted Flakes and sometimes Captain Crunch, depending, in milk. And that milk is what I use for the batter. So it's a Frosted Flake cake that's then decorated with Fruit Loops, Fruity Pebbles, Captain Crunch, and Lucky Charms.
Damn,
so
girl.
all in all, it's 5 cereals.
It's not a chocolate cake, I'm assuming. Is it a white cake?
It is a white cake, yeah.
And so,
I mean, it can be chocolate, but usually I like to do funfetti with it. So I put Fruity Pebbles in the actual batter and bake it, so it's all rainbowy.
Sure. Otherwise, you would have to use milk from like Cocoa Krispies and Cocoa whatevers.
Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, those. Thanks. Well, that's super dope. And you said it also commits. You said it also commits murder. Would that be murder by diabetes?
Death by diabetes. Aw.
Nice.
No, it's murder by deliciousness. You mean deliciousness?
I'm sorry. I must have mispronounced it. But yes, I meant deliciousness.
There you go. Much better.
Well, that sounds amazing. Pardon my French. It's shit. That sounds really cool.
Thank you. I'm glad. I'll send you some.
Wow. You're going to be sending me a lot of stuff. Pictures of your Frank Sinatra magazine, Oreo cornbread, S'moreo pumpkin pops, and serial killer cake. I mean, I don't know if you were aware, but you did subliminally offer all of that to me. So thanks, man.
You're very welcome. You are very, very welcome.
So as we're winding down, can you tell everybody where they can find you on social media?
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram, and please feel free to DM with any questions. I love answering fan questions. It's sometimes I get the funniest ones. And my handle is at Ashley.Arpel.Greenwald. Now I'm going to spell that for you because my middle name is ridiculous. So it's at Ashley, ASHLEY, .ARPEL .Greenwald, GREENWALD.
Sweet. And that's on Instagram and where else? Twitter?
No, I'm just on Instagram.
Really?
I don't have Twitter.
So that's what the cool kids are doing. They're just not on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter never appealed to me. I mean, it's really cool for what it is, but I don't know, just saying, devoting a few characters to like a thought doesn't, I don't know, work for me. I have a lot to say. I'm very loud.
Well, I mean, you use Instagram, and so right off the bat, your picture is worth 1,000 words.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Oh, yeah, and my bakery Instagram is at That's Ashley's Kitchen. Very simple.
Very cool. Guys, scroll down to the show notes. As always, those social media tags will be there. Also, Ashley, do you have a website for That's Ashley's Kitchen?
I do. It's www.that'sashleykitchen.com.
Okay.
That's and Ashley is plural, so that's Ashley.
I'm going to go ahead and help you out right now for the rest of your life. It's 2018. We've had the internet for 30 years. We don't have to say www. anymore. So
I have to, though.
No.
I am an adult. That's adulting.
No, that's what old people say.
Is it really?
Yeah, like if you're going to go to www.aarp.
You're fun. You're funny.
I am. So before I let you go, Ashley, is there anything that I didn't cover or didn't bring up that you wanted to talk about?
No, you said it all. Everyone, please watch Destined to Ride. It'll definitely, if you're sad, it'll lift your spirits. If you're happy, it'll keep you happy. And while you eat, make sure to be having cupcakes from That's Ashley's Kitchen. There you go. Boom. Plug them both.
Now, if I was going to have cupcakes, how might I serve them to myself?
How might you serve them to yourself?
Yeah, like would I put it on a napkin or on a plate or in an ice cream cone?
That's the best. Wow. You are very good at this. You can put it in an ice cream cone, and if you wanted to know how to put it in an ice cream cone, all you have to do is go to
www.aarp.com
and just watch the video, the tutorial. I teach you all how to do it. And put the volume up because there's a voiceover.
Oh, sweet. Is it you?
It's me. Womp womp.
Womp womp. All right, well, Ashley Arpel Greenwald, thank you so much for hanging out on Fascination Street and letting us get to know you a little bit more. I bid you adieu, and I hope you have a blasty blast on your vacation.
Oh, thanks so much. So not only am I sending you goodies and a magazine, I'll send you some pictures of the Hampy Ham.
Oh my gosh. And then when you post your pictures, your vacation pictures on Instagram, the only quote you can use is "sitting pretty in the Hampty Hamps."
You know what? I actually will. And then I'm going to, if you're on Instagram, I'm going to tag you. I know you are.
Oh, I am. I followed you earlier today. So there.
Oh, wait a minute. I think I saw that.
I think you did.
I'm going to follow you back. I'm following you back right after this.
All right, cool. Have a great day, Ashley. Thank you again for your time.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Bye, guys.
Bye. Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2014 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. Closing music is Apollo from the 2001 album Into the Known by the band Sapphire. Thanks for hanging out with us and getting to know a little bit about our guest. We'll see you next time on Fascination Street.